Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. We are talking about the anime classic Monster, the first 4 episodes today. Now, besides these first 4 episodes I watched, the only things I knew about the series were the premise and that the villain is like really good. So other than that, I don't know anything about this series, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't spoil anything as we go along, not only for myself, but for other people that are new to the series. Start off with our main character. Kenzo Tenma is a surgeon who seems to be well respected by his peers. There's a Turkish mother in tears when her son asked what happened to his father. Kenzo thinks about confronting them, but he decides not to. Next day, he's woken up by his fiancée, Eva, for a date when he sees there's a news report about a rich family being interviewed. They're called the Leiberts. This time Kenzo is at work. He is confronted by the mother previously who lost her husband. She's blaming him for choosing the opera singer, which was what he was supposed to do, but had the option to save her husband, so she's blaming him for that. What is really getting to him when he's at dinner with Eva? He's in denial at first, saying Eva's father, who is the director of the hospital, really calls the shot around the hospital, so he knows what's right. The same night, the police break into the Leibert's home to find the parents are dead and the son is badly injured. Drive to the hospital. Kenzo thinks back to a time where Eva's father scrapped his research project. I don't know when this was exactly happening, but he was graduating college, so long time ago it seems. He's spent, like I said, years working on this, and he just threw it all away to keep his position. He wakes out of his daydream to almost get hit by a truck, and when Kenzo goes to the hospital, he chooses to operate on the Leibert's son instead of the mayor. Even with the director calling him to advise him, the mayor has been putting a lot of money into the hospital that he works for, so he should be the priority, but he refuses. This is his patient. I don't know what, maybe it's because he's a kid, he feels like he needs to save him instead, but yeah, he just goes in, he grows a bit of his character, gains more confidence in himself. While this is happening, the surgery is happening, the Leibert daughter doesn't seem to be injured, but is really in shock, or really traumatized, in the next room over, saying not to save him from the other room, to kill him. This episode was a 7 out of 10, pretty good. I like how we're setting up a lot of these characters, and Kenzo has a decent character arc of gaining confidence in him. Episode 2, Kenzo successfully saves the child's life. He feels good until Dr. Boyer starts blaming him for the mayor dying. Defends himself, which is very just. He should have taken care of that. But Oppenheim, his boss, backs Boyer up, saying that they were scrambling to prepare for the surgery, resulting in his death. At the hospital staff's banquet, Kenzo apologized to the director for going against his wishes, and he forgives him, but still he gives the promotion of the head of neurosurgery to Dr. Boyer instead of him. He still has a job, but it's not like what he had before, and the director takes away any chance of him moving up or going somewhere else. Things worse when Kenzo leaves the party. Eva breaks off the engagement with him. She literally drops the engagement ring. It's all dramatic. It's so ridiculous, but it's showing you how big of a he made a sacrifice to save this kid, so he has to get some consequences, even though what he did was right. To talk to the Leibert's son, Johann, about how he's lost everything to save his life, but he admits he doesn't regret it, that he wished the director and the rest of them were just better off dead. And this wakes Johann up, and he doesn't realize. A detective investigating the death's murder of the Leiberts thought it would be a good idea to have the siblings reconnect with one another, maybe get a photo, and The director takes advantage of this opportunity because he needs more publicity now that the mayor's gone. When this happens, Anna, the daughter, freaks out when she sees her brother Johan, and Kenzo, he didn't get this information beforehand despite, being their caretaker and advising against it. Boyer tells him he's taking control now of the patients, now losing the last good thing Kenzo had going for him. He just goes out drinking. Boyer, Oppenheim, and the director, they all die in the middle of the night when Kenzo's drinking. Speaking ill will to their name, they all look to be poisoned by like the candy wrappers they had earlier. This was a really good episode, 8 out of 10. Crazy cliffhanger. I think the politics of how this hospital's run, like there's some interesting commentary to that I'm curious. I don't know how much further that's gonna go. We'll see. What's also interesting is the mystery between the library kids, like what's going on with them. Episode 3, Kenzo comes into the hospital to see a swarm of reporters after the police told him at home, after he was done drinking, about the director and the rest of the doctors about their deaths. Also, to add on to the chaos, a nurse tells Kenzo when he gets in that the Liebert siblings both are missing. At the funeral, I don't know how much time has passed, but Kenzo is confronted by Detective Lunge of the BKA. Inspector Lunge. He questions where he was the night Boyer, Oppenheim, and the director all died. His friend, Dr. Boyer, gives him a solid alibi, which is true. He does this thing where he airtight writes with his fingers to log things into his memory because anime. He reveals that the toffee, the 3-8, is what ended up killing them. Kenzo feels Lunge is suspicious of him, which it makes sense why he'd feel that way given all the information most people know about him, at least in the show's context. We know he's innocent, but in the context, he would be suspect number 1. I mean, he literally is just like, oh, I wish they all went to die. Kenzo says he misses Japan, which not only do I want to touch on this for it being about, he missed simpler times, but I also haven't mentioned yet that this takes place in Germany instead of Japan. There's patients and staff that don't really want him to go. With the director now dead, he is even able to get promoted to chief of surgeon like he wanted. Ava has lunch with him, hoping he'll take her back, while he declined for 2 reasons, I think. And one being, she doesn't have her father to turn to for money of her affection, so who knows if that's the reason that she kind of seems like that kind of character. But the second being understanding that he has to make sacrifices before of every big decision like this he makes. And it's a theme I'm really curious how it's going to expand on further. Fast forward 9 years into the future, where Kenzo he's still at the same hospital, still chief surgeon. Cut to Inspector Lunge in an ongoing investigation of these murders that all seem to be connected, to this guy named Junkers, who was hit by a car and rushed to the hospital Kenzo works at, which reintroduces Lunge into the story. Lunge insinuates Kenzo had benefited a lot from the director's death, which, same with, Boyer and Oppenheim, which puts not only legal suspicion on him, but also questions the ethics of Kenzo's character, as well as we the audience question. Junker survived the surgery but is in fear for his life, where he says the monster is coming. I thought this was another 8 out of 10 episode for building up what the mysteries of certain characters, introducing Lunge, who seems to be he could be a foil for Kenzo's life, maybe eventually ally, we'll see. And it gives some really solid development for Kenzo's character. Everyone said that the villain is the standout, but I'm honestly invested in Kenzo's arc. We start the last episode, we're talking about episode 4 off with Lunge questioning Junkers about his involvement in the homicides and who specifically hired him, which when he hears like who hired him specifically, he gets really hysterical, not wanting to answer. Kenzo talks to Junkers like outside, but they have a moment together where he's sharing his own thoughts about what his life has been so far, and Junkers feels he can relate to him for he feels like he's gotten into like really bad situation that he wishes he could go back to the comfort of his own home, which they both can relate to. That night, Kenzo finds the security guard that was watching Junkers is killed by the very same candy that killed the director and all of them 9 years in the past. And Junkers, he's ran away. Kenzo chases him down into a construction site, which don't know if we had to do all this, but okay. To an older Johann Liebert, who then kills Junkers. He explains like why he kills him. It's like a sick way of repaying Kenzo for saving his life, and he also like admits he poisoned the director and the others. As soon as Johann just leaves, lets him go, Kenzo immediately goes to Lunge to explain like all this, and Lunge, who finds involvement in these events suspicious, he still lets him go. As Kenzo is walking, the heavy rain is covering the tears on his face for, he's at this moral dilemma now of the decisions he's made so far, like almost all feel for nothing. Like that was the one thing that, he questioned, but like it gave him a little bit more hope of like, pushing forward that he made the right decision. But now like he's at a question of like, if he didn't save this kid and he saved the mayor, Johann, like who knows what Johann is doing now. Like seems like he's this crime lord. But also like what's interesting is like if he did not save him, like would he ever stand up to the director? Like would that ever happen? And I mean, even if he did, like he would, if Johann didn't kill the director, he wouldn't be able to help people. So it's like it's such a really compelling like moral question. Yeah, I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10 for not only introducing us to Johann, who seems like he's going to be a compelling villain in the story. Don't know how a kid, I would imagine he's gonna be a teenager, I would imagine, late teens at the most. But it's interesting that he might not be a crime boss, I don't know. But it also is interesting for Kenzo because he's now like questioning if he's done the right thing. But like everything he's done, like I said, is like ultimately like he did the right thing. Like he hasn't necessarily done anything wrong, but like it's just really interesting. The story is making us question this character's decisions. So I don't know, there could be something more to Kenzo as the story goes along. I don't know if I'm going to be doing 4s all the time. It seems like just by these 4 episodes, like it seems like there will be little arcs of build-up of episodes. So the number of episodes I cover will vary depending on how satisfied I feel. But I'm definitely going to continue this. I think the mystery so far is really engaging. I think the characters are already like really well nuanced. I think it's interesting that it's set in Germany. I don't usually see anime tackled in that. And if it is, it's usually like a fantasy setting. Okay, so I was looking up who the cast was just because I was curious to see if I recognized him since the series is old. And I found out the actor who plays Kenzo, Hidenobu Kiuchi. He plays Ren from Nana, which is that's so cool. What? Oh, so I was looking up who played Johann. Nozomu Sasaki. He voices Tetsuo and Akira. Okay, this is the last one. The actress Mami Koyama, who plays Eva from Monster. She also plays Bella Ika from Black Lagoon and Big Mama from One Piece. That's okay. We're gonna stop there. See y'all next time, everyone. Stay cozy.